Well, in this video I'm going to talk about converting an image to something like Commodore 64 color palette. And I'm on Wikipedia and I've got this little image here. So the first thing you want to do is save this image. I'm just going to save this to my little pixel folder here, right? And then you're going to get into Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, there might be an equivalent way to do this, but I'm going to do open. And I'm just going to open this one. Right, because it's already got all the colors in there, you can actually go to image mode, index color. It's already indexed by the looks of it, and go to color table, and you can see this little color palette here. Right, I'm going to save that as Commodore 64 palette. I'm going to save it as palette 2 just in case there's any difference between my original one here. Right, so you've done that. Now you're going to work on your images. Now here's a couple of oil paints that I created, oil pastel actually. So I'm just going to crop these and image, make it clockwise. Okay, and then Control L will let you level adjust. You just want to go between the peak and the base of this kind of range here until you get a lot of color out of it. Now you can kind of idealize it if you want, but you don't want to make it too contrasted like this. So I'll just go a little bit there, and you can even adjust the mid-tone. And you kind of have to imagine how this is going to look with that limited palette. I'm just going to boost this up a little bit here. Right, so I've done that. I can do blur, Gaussian blur, or smart blur, just to help blend some of these tones. So this is smart blur, and you can play around with these values until you get something that you like. Okay. And that just helps blend some of the tones. And you can apply that a few times if you want. So now I'm going to make the image quite small. So image size, pixels, let's do 300 by 225, it's fine. And for this stage, I'm just going to do bilinear so that it keeps some of the nice edges. Control 1 to get the actual size of that. Now I know for a fact that I think it's 320 by 200 is the resolution that we kind of want to work with, but I'm going to work in half resolution. I'm going to say 160 by 200. Oh, you want to do image size, not canvas size. And this will stretch it a little bit, but that's okay. So 160 by 200. Okay, and you end up with something like this. Right, so now I'm going to go to image mode, index color. I'm going to choose a custom palette. I'm going to say load, and I'm going to find that palette here. We'll use 2. Okay, loads that in and it starts finding the closest colors. And you can choose different things here as well. So like none, and you can see the kind of result that you get. There's also different ways to make this work, but you can see what kind of color range it's getting. It's not saturated enough. So I'm just going to do Control U and saturate it a good bit, and then Control L again, and just see if I can get a few more tones from this. Okay, let's try that again. So image mode, index color, and custom load. Okay, it's a little bit better this time. Still a little bit too much happening in the bottom right in terms of it being too bright. Let's try that. So levels adjust. Index color. And just want to see how this differs from the other one I've got. Yeah, a little bit different. It gives a better result. Okay, so once you've got that, you can do a little bit more pixel art work with it. Just here and there, I'm just going to spruce some of these bits up. Now the reason why I'm working in like a squeeze resolution is because the Commodore uses double pixels to get multicolor, and I guess it's a memory limitation type thing. It's just how the hardware works. Right, so I can pick some colors from here that I know work. And if I change the mode back to RGB, I can, one, introduce more colors, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep with this palette, so I need to make sure that I'm in pencil mode and I don't have any anti-aliasing or anything like that. But what I can do is I can create a new layer above, and I've done this before, made a little document 2 by 2, right? If you do Control 1 or Control 0, you can zoom right in and do a little checker pattern like this, and then you define a pattern. Now I've done this before and called it checker, so I'm just going to go back into that image here and do solid color, right? Pattern, and choose my checker pattern. That's there. And it never worked, or maybe it did, and I just can't see it. Do that again. Pattern and this. Just need to be there. So go back to that, and then define pattern, checker. Okay, then so pattern. There you go. That's more like it. Okay, so you've got this pattern, and I just want to right click and rasterize this layer, copy the contents that are in it, and then I can hide that. And I'm just going to make a new layer, make a mask for it, alt click on the mask, and then do Control Shift B, and it pastes that checker pattern in there. And the reason for that is I want to make little checker variations and things, so I can now work in this layer with that black and white mask, pick a color, and start doing this with it. Right, and it just gives me that kind of tonal work that you often see in pixel art. It's quite a nice effect as well. I can just fix up some of these bits. You can spend a lot of time on it or not, you know, it's one of those things that's really up to you how well you want it to look, how much you want to add. Okay, and a little bit of the side here. And if you want like a secondary effect of that, I'm just going to take a copy of it and get rid of all the contents in there and go to the mask and do Control I, and you'll get the opposite effect. So now I can do the same kind of thing and paint, but the checker will be the opposite way as opposed to this one, so I can kind of layer it up. I can work with these two layers and layer things up a bit. Okay, that's the general idea. So once you've done that, you can merge visible, then go to image. So we're going to change the size, image size, and this time we're going to do 320 across the way. And this is a typical Commodore 64 resolution, and we want to change this to nearest neighbor, hard edges, so we don't get any blur. And that is pretty much it. You might have the odd limitation as well, like if you go to your preferences, grids and slices, and change this to 64 with 8 subdivisions is good, and turn on your grid, you can then start to look at all these little squares and make sure there's a maximum of 4 colors in here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just change that to the nearest color, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I might make that one brown, and 1, 2, so that one, and you can do that for the whole document if you wanted, but it's not really necessary. It just makes it look more genuine. A lot of people aren't really going to nitpick the little 8x8 squares, but yeah, you could go over it like that. They'll say you could even run this through an algorithm to clean it up. But that is that is as good as it needs to be. And yeah, you can imagine some sprites overlaid on top of this for even more effect. If you had your, was it your pixel sizes for sprites at 24 by 21, right? So if you do 24 by 21, that's a pixel size. So I can make a mask for that, and I can draw some pixel art in here. So let me do it. Be a little bit play, a little bit delay with it. Okay. Right, so up there, and I can put in a couple of little pixel-based birds or something. And that's still within the parameters of the Commodore's limitations. So now press E. Right, so there's 8 sprites that you're allowed, but let's just say we used a multicolor sprite and had 2 sprites. Okay, so I've got a little birdie there, and that's me use 4 sprites. But they don't look that great, right? But you could add these things if you wanted to. Let's see, what else can we do? So if you do want to edit it more, you're going to have to do image size 160, right? And keep nearest neighbor now, and you can edit it some more. The same sort of way, just still get this pattern layer, that's handy. I can rasterize that layer. Then rasterize, copy it, make a new layer, put a mask in there, and paste it into the mask. So Alt click, then you can draw here whatever color you want. And a nice little trick that I like to do is put a lot of things in the foreground, like this, like a close-up tree or something. Kind of like this one, but even darker. Just remember you're working in half resolution here. Makes it easier later on you don't have to clean up all the pixels to make sure they're doubled. Right, and I'm going to paint a few little bits in here as well. And merge visible, image size 320 on the top and leave the bottom, nearest neighbor, and control 1. And then what you want to do to present it, because it's going to be a size, you can do image size percent and do like 300% on each. And that just gives you a bigger resolution to show people it. That's that one. So let me just do one more really quick so you get the idea. So I'm going to crop this out. Image size, image rotation, clockwise, control L. So this was the original oil pastel that you've seen me make into pixel art. I'm just trying to get as much color without totally killing it. Right, and then I can do a blur effect if I wanted, completely option this smart blur, just to merge some of the pixels together a bit. I can try different settings here. I think you'll see it will do a tiny bit of work, not much. Image size, so 320, 240 it gives me, right. So I'm going to make that 320 by 200 manually. Just going to choose this area. Okay, that's our resolution. And that did not work right. No pixels were selected. Just make sure you have the background unlocked. This is it's been funny. Do a new selection. By 200. It's been a bit broken. Photoshop's been a bit broken on me. Okay, another thing you can do is image size or canvas size, and yes, canvas size will crop it, and then you want to crop it to the top. Oh no, other way, to the bottom. Because that's okay. Can be better. Let's just undo a bit, go back the way. Right, think about this. Now I can make a new document, 300 by 200, right? And copy that, bring it into your image, paste it, and then scale it up, right? And don't change the aspect ratio, just scale it up, and also don't go beyond the edge. You want to keep the proportions of this correct, and this is just going to be a little window into what we see, what we want to keep. That way I can keep certain things. Right, so I'm going to do that. If I control click it and do image crop, let's hide that one, got this right, and then image size 320 by 200 is what I should get. It's been annoying, isn't it? Yeah, that's been a little bit brr. And I think it's this version of Photoshop, to be honest. So I'm not changing any proportions or nothing. Just put that where I want it. I think it might just be losing some of its proportion somewhere. Okay, image size 300. There we go, that's it there. Don't know what I did. Okay, and you can do bilinear for this one or nearest neighbor. Nearest neighbor will be quite noisy at this stage, so I suggest bilinear to reduce this one first. And it just keeps it kind of smoothish. Right, you can also do the blur effect. So blur, smart blur. Right, and that will fix a few little bits. You can see how it's taken some of the tones away. Okay, I want to keep some of those. Another good one is the filter stylize oil paint. And just a tiny bit of that because it is quite an effect on things. And that just kind of clears things up. It blurred it a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to do Control L just to boost that a little bit more. And then, so we've got a resolution right, we just need to make it into the Commodore palette. So we go to Image Mode, Index Color. Just thinking about it. Merge layers, yeah. Use the previous palette, that's fine. You can do a little bit of diffusion if you want. I don't recommend much, so like 5% compared to 10%. Starts to get a little bit noisy like this. Now I'd rather put these in manually, this kind of thing. Okay, so 15%. No, I'm just going to say like 2%, right? Just a little bit. Okay, and if you don't want to shrink the resolution horizontally the way I did before, well, you know that pattern that I made, this one, I can actually make this image size twice as wide. So I'll just change that to 4 by 2. Just make sure that you have this set to nearest neighbor. Okay, and then I can define a new palette and call this C64 double pixel checker. Right, and the white allows pixels in and this doesn't, so when you start painting it gives you that checker effect. That's the idea, and it's a repeated pattern. So you have to change it back to RGB mode to allow layers, but just make sure you don't choose colors other than the Commodore 64 palette. There's already quite a lot here that I'll use. Right, so I've done that, and I want to add a mask. I'll click on it. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. First do the pattern, and there's the correct one. Rasterize that layer. Choose all the pixels, copy them, and do just a new layer, a new mask in it. Alt click in the mask and Control Shift B. Just hide that pattern one for now. And now we've got a clean layer with a pattern ready to go in it, and I don't have to shrink horizontally this time. Like, that's a different way of thinking about it. But now when I try and paint, now the only problem with this is I will get the odd pixel. That's why I like the other method, but it's harder to read it. Now you can see I've got the odd pixel and it's it's not the right place, maybe. Well, in fact, all of this at the bottom is wrong. I need to make it, I need to shrink it, then double it up. So I'm just going to unlock it. Don't let me do it. Yeah. So I need to do image size 160, then image size 320, right? And that gets rid of half of the pixels. So now I've got the double pixel effect. This is now a bit broken. I'm just going to paste that back in there from memory. It still looks a bit broken. Okay, that's that. Hold on a minute, it's a little bit broken at the bottom. Okay, that's that fixed. So now I can pick a colour and say the only problem is the end pixel wherever I draw, so it's a bit more work to do it this way because I need to then fix these ones to be double pixels, right? Only because the brush isn't like a double pixel brush, and I don't think it would really care about that. There's maybe a chance I could go into the brush settings. Let's have a look and see texture, choose this one, okay, and just make sure my brush is big enough. Yeah, that's still not doing it. Let's see how that looks in a new layer. You can see it's kind of trying to do it, but not 100%. Okay, so the best way to do it is with a pattern with half resolution because it's quicker. Let's just go back to that image size 160, right? And I've got what I want there. The pattern should be okay. Yeah, that's still fine. And yeah, just start working on some of those areas. I think doing this little checker effect is the thing that sells it as not being just processed. So doing this step is kind of vital to fool people into thinking you did the whole thing by hand. Whereas, you know, to do all this whole thing by hand, well, it took a while to make the original one, right? It took about half an hour to 40 minutes to draw it. Then this process took maybe another 15 minutes, so like an hour or something. But then you can really make all your nice backgrounds look cool. Do something in Commodore style. It doesn't have to be 100% based on limitations, but just enough to give that nostalgia factor. Right, and when you're done, you just want to merge everything together. So I seem to have a little bit of a delay when I use the tablet in Photoshop, and it's a horrible update that Wacom's gave me. Merge visible, image size, and 320. And that's you got your pixel art back. There's no loose pixels here because I worked in half resolution. I can go ahead and fix up the odd bit, just here and there. Make sure your opacity is full and you're not in some weird brush mode. And I think, yeah, so anything else I do, I just need to make sure that I'm in the actual pixels. For some reason I can't really draw anymore. Get all sorts of weird, really weird side effects happening here. I have no idea what all that is. So either this version of Photoshop's buggy, more than likely, or yeah, something else is messing it up. But that is how you make pixel art from an image. You can use it in photos and anything. I recommend doing it in drawings, you know, like the Golden Axe type thing. I don't know if you ever played Golden Axe on the Commodore, but there's this kind of load screen where there's these really nice drawings, and they look great. I don't know if I have any. Yeah, I do actually. Let me just get one from Woodfolio 2D sketches. Right, let's take this guy. Imagine Golden Axe and this dude, right? So as long as I keep within the limitations and stuff, it will look pretty cool. I'm just going to enhance the white levels and the dark levels a bit. Right, I'm going to do image size. So the height I know is going to be 200, so I'll just lock that and do 200 by linear to keep some of the details at this point. And I can do canvas size 320. I'm going to fill the background with white. It's a gradient. Nope, don't want that. Right, and I'm also going to just pull some of these tones out a bit. Okay, yeah, I'm not used to this version of Photoshop, it's a bit of a new one. But right, let me just carry on with that. So we've got our size, and we just need to bring our color in. So image mode, index color, merge layers, and yep, previous layer, no diffusion. So yep, no diffusion, none. Previous, now it doesn't quite, it's not bad actually, it's got the 3 tones of grey, but I'm pretty sure that they kind of toned it down a bit, made it more like this, so only never used the white tone. I really don't understand what's going on. I need to pick this colour. An RGB. It's not picking the colour for some reason. Definitely a broken version of. See that? It's like clicking and unclicking. There's some weird things happening in Photoshop. Okay, what I'll do is I need to do a workaround here. I'm just going to copy. Okay, this is really unusual behaviour. Did so much work around it, it's ridiculous. What the I'm going to unplug my tablet just in case. Yeah, there seems to be, yeah, there's a driver issue with the tablet. Okay, that's what that was. Okay, now I've sussed that out, merged down. Sorry about that. This is almost as good as a live session. Image size. Yeah, I've got that. So image mode, indexed color. And I've got 3 tones here. It doesn't look as good, so I'm just going to do Control L and bring that back. Just really enhance those tones a bit. Image mode, index color. Still not enough light tones in there. You can try things like pattern as well to see what you get, but it gets a little bit noisy. The noise itself is too noisy. So diffusion just a little bit is usually good. And yeah, same previous 16 colors. Okay. And you want to do image size 160. And then image size. Well, you can work on it if you wanted, but I'm just going to put image size back to 320. And then you get that kind of drawn effect. There's even some brown tones in there, but that's fine. And that's how you turn a drawing into pixel art, and then you can put that back to RGB color and do extra work on it if you want. Cool, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoy making Commodore 64 looking graphics using the Wikipedia image downloaded and extracting the colors from that into a palette that you can reuse. All at the start of this video. If you have skipped that, go back to the start. There's a lot of good stuff. Thanks so much.